Welcome to Fully In It, a show for moms who know they are called to so much more. Join me, Kate Saffel, a life and a business coach, and a woman on a quest to show that anything you desire for your life is truly possible. This show is about going fully in it for you and the people you love by showing up powerfully in all areas of your life. Join me for weekly episodes that will inspire you to follow your intuition, lead with integrity and heart, and create the life you've always dreamed of. Welcome to episode 106 of the Fully In It podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that I see come up so often in my community. And it is that you would love to create a life that completely lights you up, that fits your family perfectly. And yet, can you actually do it? Are you feeling courageous enough to claim what it is that you truly desire for you and your family? And is it even possible? Those thoughts run through your head, the fears and the worries of, do I even get to have a life I love when there are so many people around me who don't have great lives, who are unhappy, who are in really terrible situations? Why would I get to choose that for myself and for my family? And in today's episode, we're going to explore why you creating a life you love is actually one of the most important things that you can ever do, not only for your family, but for everyone who is around you. Okay, but before we jump in, little life update. I want to talk about some things that have been happening in my world. So today is Tuesday. It is Valentine's Day in the US, and we are actually heading to Disney World after this. And so I am recording this episode and I am getting this out to you because I wanted to make sure that you would have it today. But I am actually coming off of 4 days of prep and then leading an in-person retreat. I did this over the past weekend. I had 5 women come here to Florida, and we spent 3 nights together doing the most incredible inner work and personal growth. We had deep conversations. The women opened up to each other. We laughed. We had a silly good time, and it was nothing short of the most incredibly magical experience I've had yet in my business. You know, I had wanted to lead a retreat for a really long time. And last spring, I led 2 virtual retreats, which was amazing. And it helped me kind of get used to the idea of weaving in and out of different activities and how to guide conversation and how to create a really transformative experience. Because, this isn't really something that they teach in school. And so part of it was, for me, having the courage to do something new. If you're a business owner like me, you know that there are no shortage of opportunities for you to face your fears, for you to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. And for me, this was one of those things. Although I will say that I felt more prepared to lead a group of women in this moment than I have ever felt my entire career. And after all of the things that I went through last year, 2022, I've talked about this quite a few times. 2022 was a really intense year for me in my personal life. And I can't help but wonder if something about facing a lot of my fears last year helped equip me to be able to hold the energy of a retreat for a group of women. So I am incredibly thankful to the women who also came, because what a leap of faith on their part, right? It is getting together with a group of women as females can be so outside the comfort zone, because a lot of us had not great experiences with other women or as girls. And so to intentionally gather with women that you may not know super well and share a house was a really big thing that they did. They committed to their growth. They all were willing to go fully in it and embody the meaning of this podcast and this community. I was so impressed with each and every one of them. And the guidance that they received, not just from me, but from each other and from within themselves, was incredibly powerful. And I cannot wait to host another one of these retreats. If you dream of being with other women and having an experience that feels like a line in the sand of life before the retreat and life after the retreat, and you're looking for that experience that is going to move you and grow you in the best possible ways, we want to do more of these retreats. So I actually don't have that list yet, but you can always send me a message on Instagram at Happier in Motherhood and just let me know, like, hey, I want to know when you're going to have your next retreat, and I'm compiling a list of people already who have expressed interest, and I would love to have you there. So let's go ahead and get into the topic now that we are 6 minutes in. I am dying at how much I'm apparently talking this morning. I've barely had my coffee yet. So what would it look like for you to be courageous enough to create the life that you truly want, you truly desire, and that you would love to lead every day? What would it take? When we think about courage, this is a characteristic of being willing to do the things or pursue the thing that you're afraid to do. Or maybe that you don't even know if you can, or you tell yourself, I don't know how, and yet you choose to do it anyway. You choose to move forward. That is courage. Courage is a characteristic that is cultivated. Not everyone comes to this human experience just like full of courage. It is something that you gain the more that you do things that scare you, the more that you do things that make you uncomfortable. And you will find that your ability to face future situations that are outside of your comfort zone will increase. But why aren't more people courageously creating lives that they love? Why isn't this something that we see modeled out in society? There's always those outliers. You see them, they're on social media. They're talking about, like, I created my dream life. I love my life. And I want to give one caveat that a dream life and you loving your life doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It can look a lot like your current life with just more of what you enjoy, more of what you love, and less of what you don't love. So hear me clearly that none of this conversation is around you having to upend and change everything. But why don't more people have lives that they love? Well, for a lot of people, what I see is that it may be outside of your comfort zone to even want or desire more. Maybe you have been told throughout your life that it is better for you to be content with what it is that you have, that it's wrong to want more, that people who desire more are greedy. They're selfish. Right? So it's like, why would you be willing to intentionally create a life that you love if people may think that you are selfish or that you are greedy because you have more than other people? And I think that this is one of those things that we can definitely flip and we can look at differently, because desire is actually a really good thing, especially when you use your desires in a way that not only serves your family, but serves those around you. It changes the world when you are living fully embodied in who you are and what you want and what you are meant to be. And it will inspire those around you. We often don't create a life that we love that you may feel it's outside your comfort zone is because you know it's going to look different than those around you. You know that you're going to stand out. And what happens to people who stand out, who do life differently? Well, you may be afraid that people are going to have something to say to you. They're going to call you out. They're going to criticize you. Or maybe they may just stop being your friend. And I've talked about this so many times on this podcast, but that tribe-like mentality was really important to our evolution as humans, but it also means that we tend to avoid things that are important to us if we fear that it will kick us out of the tribe and we will no longer be accepted. And so I know this very personally. When we chose to travel full-time, the first time especially, it's not that we got kicked out of the tribe, but it's that people didn't really understand why it was that we would even choose to do that. It really surprised me because, yes, I know traveling full-time with your family is super unconventional, but I thought, well, we're just still doing family life. Like, we're still getting up and having breakfast in the morning and homeschooling our kids and working and right, we're doing normal family life. It just happened to be while we were moving around the country, right? And having all of these amazing adventures. And for some reason, that is really triggering to other people. But I think the thing that you have to know is that when you are really lit up by your life and you love what you're doing, you feel satisfied by it, it can make other people uncomfortable because it mirrors to them the parts of their life that they feel are lacking. They begin to look at their life and see it differently, and it can be uncomfortable for them. But you're not responsible for living a smaller version of your life to make other people comfortable. If you feel anything inside of you that is like, no, I should just be happy with what I have, I shouldn't try to grow bigger, I shouldn't, have a life that is an absolute delight, I should just do life like everyone else. If you notice that inside of yourself, ask, is it because I am afraid of what people will think? And I want to make other people comfortable. And that people-pleasing tendency can cause us to sacrifice our own desires for the sake of others. And I don't want to see you do that. The final reason why I see that people don't create a life that they love is because, oddly enough, they are more comfortable in emotions of lack, not enoughness, frustration, and disappointment than they are in the emotions of happiness, joy, fulfillment, abundance, and gratitude. It can be really hard for someone to feel the fullness, the full expression of those emotions. And I get it because there was a period of my life where I felt incredibly negative. I lived in those emotions of disappointment and frustration and resentment. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone because it was a really unhappy time of my life and it impacted my family. It actually kept me from bringing the most fulfilled version of myself to the people I love. And when we are holding back in that way, it impacts what is possible for other people too. It impacts their quality of life as well. And so if someone is not used to feeling those positive, expansive emotions, they're definitely not going to create life experiences that would make those more accessible. And of course, this is not typically done on a conscious level. It's not like, your Aunt Fran, who is a miserable human being, is saying to herself, nope, I can't do that activity that I love because I might feel fulfilled by it. And that would just be miserable. That people don't consciously think of these things, but it becomes internal patterns that they may not know how to break. And if this is you and you're listening to this and you're like, oh shoot, I might be Aunt Fran. It's okay. That was me for a long time too. And I had to learn how to hold those more expansive emotions. And oddly enough, as it sounds, I had to learn how to feel safer in them. I had to learn how it felt to be truly happy and joyful. Those are big emotions. And so if you don't know yet how to fully experience those, don't be hard on yourself, but look for opportunities to expand into them. Okay, so how do we actually create a life that we love and do it when you are a mom? Is it even possible in motherhood for you to create a life you love? Because there's so many moving pieces. You have all these people that you're caring for that depend on you. And us mamas are fed this story that you should just get by, that motherhood is just a season of kind of just rolling with what is. You just do what you can do. It's okay if you don't love your life. You should just be content with what you have instead of wanting more. Motherhood is not a season for your growth. It is a season for you to support others. And as you know, I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I truly believe that when you love your life and you feel fulfilled, it ripples out to your entire family. So if there is ever a season that it is so incredibly important for you to do the work of creating the days and the home life and the life that you love, motherhood is it. Especially if you are committed to creating a beautiful story for your family. It starts with you. But it is easier to use all of these reasons that I named as excuses, as reasons why you can't get after what it is that you truly want. It's easier to say to yourself, I will just do it tomorrow. I will do it when the kids are in school. I will do it when the kids are out of the house. And as I've said before, we have no promise of tomorrow. Why are you withholding from yourself the life that you truly want? Could you be brave and get after it? So when you love your life, this is what it actually looks like. You hear me talking about a life that gets you leaping out of bed in the morning. And for most of us tired mamas, you're like, that's not possible. That sounds crazy, Kate. But it's true. It is true. I've had years of this. And no, I don't leap out of bed every morning. This is just kind of an expression to paint the picture of what it feels like. But most mornings, I wake up in a state of gratitude. I feel pretty damn happy about my life. I feel excited to do the things I have going on. There's pretty much nothing on my plate that I don't want to do. Now think about that. Most of the things that are my responsibilities between my family and my business and my home life are things that I want to do. I have created my life this way. And now it took me time to get it here. But I wouldn't have it any other way. And so for you, are you willing to put in the time and the energy to have days that get you excitedly leaping out of bed, feeling fulfilled, to know that your life is the perfect expression of what matters most for you and your family, that it completely and beautifully reflects the values that you hold together, and you trust yourself in your values. You're not looking outward to other people for permission or validation because you are so centered in who you are as a family. Your version of loving your life means letting go of any obligations and unaligned activities and responsibilities that don't fit the story that you are creating with your family. And I know that this feels easier said than done, to say no and to pull back, but your time is a finite resource. It is. You only have a limited amount of time on earth and an even more limited time when your kids are the age that they are currently. What do you want to do with that life energy and the time that you have? What would absolutely delight you? And sometimes we have to look at the things that we don't like about our life, that creates resistance, that we want to avoid. And maybe that's the place that you start first. But if this episode is speaking to you and you are feeling like, oh, I want this and I just don't know how I can do this, I want to encourage you that you do not have to overhaul your life in a day. This is not something that happens overnight. This is day after day, 365 days or more of you committing to gently and intentionally shifting into the version of the life that you want. But it is going to demand of you that you be courageous and that you put away the opinions, the beliefs of other people, and you tap back into the beautiful story that you are meant to lead. Because I am telling you, at the end of your life, you will not look back and think, man, I sure wish I had listened to other people's opinions more. I'm so frustrated that I created a life that I love. Dang it, why did I do that? It was the worst. It was the worst to wake up every day and feel so good and enjoy my time with my family and do things that we love. Why did I think I wanted that? Said no one ever. So be brave, my loves. Time is of the essence. You have everything you need to create a life you love. Be courageous. And I will see you next week. If you loved this episode, it would make me so happy for us to connect more. I have the most amazing free resources like a 5-day e-course that will help you feel more confident leading your days and your family, a guided visualization for imagining and creating the life that you want. And if you are ready to take everything that you hear in this podcast and create it in your own life, you're definitely going to want to book a free 50-minute call with me to see if coaching is the perfect fit for you. Head to thestreamlinedlife.com/hello to find all of the latest resources from me. And I am sending so much love to you and your crew. I will see you next time.